Good afternoon, people, and welcome to Valimosali and to an event which is organized in cooperation with the City of Pori and the Urb Cultural Planning Project and Pori Film Festival. First, a couple of words about the festival. It's the second time this festival is being organized in this venue, and it's the fifth annual Pori Film Festival now. Yesterday was our first day, and until Sunday we will have this space full of movies, lectures, concerts, and very nice people. And we very warmly welcome you to get to know the program and hope to see as much of you as possible in the future screenings. The festival program is on the wall there, and also we have these handouts of the festival program. That's it for the film festival. By the way, my name is Harri, and now I am changing my hat into a worker of the Urb Cultural Planning Project, which you see the logo here. It's an EU project that operates in the Baltic Sea region, to be exact in Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. Am I missing something? Yes, and in this project we aim to develop cultural planning, and what that is it's a framework of city development which is based on the people, cultural values, local cultural values, co-creation, participation, and so on. Jonas will tell you more about that soon. In the project, we did this pop-up shop called Poris, which is the Pori City Center research development space or something like this. And we opened on Pori Day in the walking street, Kävelykatu. We opened the shop where we were asking the citizens of Pori about their ideas concerning the city center, their feelings, and what would they like to see in their own environment. And for this space, from the project, there's this residency program, and we had an opportunity to get two resident, not artists precisely, but resident developers, so to say, to come to Pori to work with us. We had two guys come in. One was Apu Dube from Denmark, originally from South Africa, who was with us for 3 weeks, and then Mr. Jonas Büchelin from Riga, who was there for 5 weeks. And during this time, we had roughly 2,000 residents of Pori come to the space and discuss all matters Pori. And Jonas talked to quite a few people during his stay, and sat quite many long nights with us with discussions, and he has made some remarks of our town. And during this 5 weeks period, Jonas was very much doing strategic things and also helping us with setting up the space and how to communicate with people. And he has over 20 years experience in these kind of things all over the world, and we are very happy to have him, had him in Pori, and now to have him here again. And he will tell you more about all kinds of stuff soon.
Indeed, yes.
Which from knowing him for 5 weeks, I believe there's going to be some level of output coming from him soon. So let's welcome Mr. Jonas Büchelin. Yes, and
stage is mine.
Floor is pretty close. So, because we are in the EU world now.
Out of Film Festival.
Yeah, so now we have gone from the world of art, we have gone to the world of EU bureaucracy. so we will fill our names and organizations and such on the blanket. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. I have heard that there is a bunch of students here. Very nice. I'm really happy to have you. But I also have heard that a few of you have to leave around 10 to 4. Is that correct? Because of catching a bus? Good. Do me the favor, don't do it before 10 to 4. Yeah, that we have. I can have a finish in a way. Not that you're jumping up in the moment I'm just finishing. Okay, my name is Jonas Büchelin. Harry very nicely introduced me as the one who is having 20 years of experience, which is correct, or maybe more even. But he also introduced me as somebody who has done that all over the world. I'm a bit, how to say, careful with this, but I probably can say all over Europe, definitely. Then I would like actually to, before going further on with any kind of introduction or with any kind of idea that I want to transmit today to you, I would like to hand over my words to another colleague. So the actual title of our presentation today is Body, Bodies, and Bodies. So since there are quite a few persons here who have never heard of this project, or probably have heard of the project but who haven't visited us in the pop-up, or who are totally new and from outside and have never been in Body before, Bodies is a very specific outcome of the 5 weeks or 4 + X weeks residency. And it is an art network that we founded within the pop-up shop of artists, cultural workers, creative classes, people who are interested actually in the city and the city arts, and that what happens here in terms of culture. And one of the members of this Bodies club, actually Bodies and Borelia, because we don't want to miss there also the gender. It's not like all patriarchic top-down. Unfortunately, it is probably, but nevertheless. So we want to welcome one of the members, and that is Tommy. And Tommy will have something to read for you.
Yes. I shall read you the manifesto of Poris and Borelia. I shall do it in Finnish, as it's mainly for the Finnish audience. It's mainly for the people in Pori. But rest assured, everyone who doesn't speak Finnish, I will tell you the content afterwards. But now, let's get to the point. Poris et Borelian manifesti. Kohta 1. Me olemme Poris et Borelia. Me olemme Porista kiinnostuneiden ja porimielisten epävirallinen ja kokeellinen taide- ja kulttuurialan ryhmä. Kohta 2. Meille Pori on kokeilun kaupunki, jonka mahdollisuudet odottavat ottajansa. Kohta 3. Me uskomme taide- ja kulttuurialan toimijoiden yhteistyöhön. Kohta 4. Me uskomme, että kulttuuri- ja taidealan paradigman muutos on tarpeellinen ja väistämätön. Tämä muutos vaatii seuraavia toimenpiteitä. Nyt seuraa 4 momenttia. Momentti 1. On tunnustettava, että taiteen ja kulttuurin etu on myös kaupungin etu. On tunnistettava kaupungin näkymätön potentiaali ja annettava sille koti. Tuo oli momentti 2. Nyt tulee momentti 3. Kaupungin tyhjät tilat on valjastettava kulttuurin ja taiteen kokeilulle. Sitten momentti 4. Kokeilujen ja potentiaalin on voitava toteutua 24/7, sillä inspiraatio ei noudata toimistoaikoja. Sitten tulee kohta 5. Me uskomme jatkuvan intervention voimaan. Kohta 6. Tämän manifestin on johdettava toimintaa. Ja kohta 7. Poris et Borelia tarvitsee sinut osaksi muutosta. Tule, ajattele ja toimi. Kiitos. Now, back to Mr. Jonas Büchelin.
So, what is behind all of this is actually nothing else than a certain kind of commitment. And the commitment of cultural people, and for sure not of all of them, but just of a group of people, interested people of this town, this city, who are actually concerned. Not concerned in a negative way, but simply concerned. They are committed to their town, to their place. I will have to explain that. We are not using the term of space or place anymore. We simply, after following some Danish colleague of mine in the year 2019, decided we simply call it place. We mix it. So being concerned of your place is something that a cultural worker, like for people coming maybe from outside, it sounds like just natural that you have to be, but many of us are also very often dealing very much with our own issues. So we're very closed. I think everybody here knows that. It's a kind of normal psychological effect. Therefore, it is even more important and even more valuable to have such an outcome out of these 4 weeks that we have tried actually to meet nearly twice a week. We had a formal meeting once in a week, but we even met like then on the Saturday mornings in order to like finish the manifesto and write on it. In fact, several persons here in the room have been connected to this. Okay, let's start. I will try to very, very shortly explain what is behind the Herb Cultural Planning Project in terms of what can cultural planning actually do and what it cannot do. So cultural planning is definitely not, 100% not, any kind of planning tool that miraculously brings you a shopping mall in the heart of your stomach. It's not possible. What actually cultural planning can do, it can take the stupid shopping mall in your head and bring it out of your head. That is what cultural planning can do. So you actually have tools and instruments and methodology that helps you to define this place and bring meaning to it, or identify the meaning, bring new meaning, bring old meaning up again in order to really see what matters for this place, because this is why we are actually doing this. These were the forks, the most, how to say, important forks, a few of them here in the room, or as to say like nearly most of them, who were like for a good month or more working on the spot. And the spot, Hadi said that already, matters very much. This place, whoever is from Porin knows this place. This place has a very important position. I've been doing pop-up shops and projects like this literally more than 10 times all over Europe. It has never worked that well than here. So this is a big question. Why? We will come to that later. But the position of the place, for sure, and here it's a place and not this place, the position of the place is utterly important because the doors were open all the time. All the time. That means like we were there minimum from like usually 10 o'clock in the morning. We officially started at 12, but usually the first coffee drinkers came in already at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we hardly never finished before 12 in the night. So you had a space where to go. Now we're talking about space, also the mental space. You had a space where to go. You had a space that was open without any commercial meaning. It was open and it was there just for sitting, resting, relaxing, or for talking, for meeting. Here in front are sitting a few persons from the city council, from some departments. You have no idea how often the planning department came in our pop-up shop in order to do their meetings there. You know how nice is that? I mean, really, like they kind of rescue out of the official administration building, and then you can have a more relaxed and a bit more easy meeting, and you have some bollocks like this running around, and like in between, like disturbing you, which Abdul and I love to do all the time. But for sure, as an artist, I'm an urbanist, in residence, it's a fantastic position, you know. you're an enfant terrible, as the French people say. You can do whatever you want. You can be the pain in the ass. You can be the one who is like fully committed. You can like really pamper people, and you can also be angry with people. You can do everything, whatever you want. Most important for me personally in that moment was to clearly say, when I arrived here, I still remember a few people has confused that quite a lot. I am here to be abused. And I mean that as I'm saying it. I'm here to be abused. When I'm coming in a place, and in this place, and in a space, and I'm fully committing myself as the person working with that arrangement, whatever it is, this community area, then I'm expecting people to take me and do something with me and use me. And this term also abuse me. I know it's not nice, but I mean it as I say it, and I don't mean it negative at all. So I'm a slave. That's also why I wear this t-shirt. I'm slaved. So I'm hanging on the cross. I don't know if I should whistle now my last... Okay. I don't know if everybody in the room knows the Monty Pythons, therefore we stop at that place. The point is, you also have to be for sure at a certain moment when you want to give a feedback about the target, about this, our target in this project, the city center, you also at one moment still have to be maybe the enfant terrible, the stranger from paradise. We're in a film festival, so I have to quote good films. The Stranger from Paradise. I mean, one of my most beloved films by Jim Jarmusch. So I have to be myself also again, don't you think? I mean, in a way, it's important to be also the stranger, and not being only the body and Boris and Boris guy. So therefore, we will do that now. So I'm myself. I'm Büchel. So, this is, to understand something about myself, this is an outcome of last year. You will see there, go voting, 17th of June. I was candidating as a mayor in my hometown in Germany. Therefore, I have a little bit of experience of politics. Ha-ha! I didn't win, otherwise I wouldn't stand here. No, really, you can't stand in front of such a group of people if you win an election of a 50,000 town. So, said that, I was not only growing up in a mediocre, small-sized mediocre town. I'm working my entire life for 25 years, my working life. I'm working with small towns, mediocre towns. And since 1965, the office Büchel, my parents before, also planners, were working also only with mediocre and small-sized towns. So we have officially 54 years of experience with small and mediocre towns. And I will say from the very beginning, and I mean it as I say it, and you can chew it, you can find it completely stupid, whatever you want, this is one of the most elaborated and best mediocre towns in the world that I've ever seen or worked with. Suck that in. There's coming a stranger telling you, this place doesn't suck. It's no shit. It's actually good. And it's better than good. Let's try to come to that. One observation, 5 keys, 2 ideas, and 1 statement. Say like the second idea is already also part of the statement. The observation. Ever heard of the concept of latency? Think about a poster somewhere on the city, on the street. And the poster has been like getting another poster over it, and again another poster over it, and then somebody is ripping it down, and then suddenly you see things that are lost maybe for years. So coming in Porin, within a few days, Abdul and I were sitting at a beer in the evening, alone, and we were like both looking on each other and like stunned. What the fuck is going on here? Everywhere where you open a small box is a whole Pandora of culture coming out, uncontrollable. Everywhere is culture, everywhere. I'm not talking just about the concept of culture as something that is like covering all of our life and being the connection and the communication of our life. I mean specifically cultural projects, people, initiatives, individuals, whole groups of people out in the woods. Here was this East project, the Urbach project, that we still parallel have running here. 2 European Union cultural projects at one place. Huh? This is not Riga, a 500,000 to 1 million city. This is, we have even 3. Oh my goodness, even one more. Okay, I got to know and have worked with 2, so that's enough for one soul, you know, like, can't cope with more. So, I mean, this is something very unique, and you need to imagine that. So latency means at that point, something is wrong. As fantastic as the town is, as much as I was happy, after exactly 4 weeks, just one colleague here in the front was asking me, how was it when returning? And I said, I was happy, like a small child. Arriving in the rain, 11:30 in the night, at the railway station in Porin, I was happy. That's not correct. That shouldn't be like that. In end of November, in summer maybe. But then Tommy was there waiting here for me outside. Inside, Nilo was still running around. And Tommy and I still went for a beer to the Beer Hunter. And afterwards we were still even at the bus station because the Beer Hunter closed. And after that I was still hungry again, you know. And then I thought like, okay, Hessburger has long open, nice, let's have a burger in the night. So I went to the Hessburger, Satapuska, right?
Satapaska.
Satapaska. It's really like 100 shits, yeah. So, latency. If you want to understand Porin, you have to be at 3 o'clock in the night at that place. Just be there. If you haven't done that, you have never seen Porin. There are young people, they like chats, not drunken at all. That was a funny comment. I mean, Wednesday evenings, well, Saturday, usually like, I don't know, corporations out and drinking. No, they were not drunk, they had fun. They just were chatting and eating, and there was life in the night, in November, rain. There was life. So, you know the old Finnish complex. Now at this point, I should say, I'm a little bit aware of Finland. So I am the stranger coming from outside, but I have been spending my childhood here partly. My parents have been working here, so I know the country quite a long time. I'm over 50 now, so I know the country for more than 50 years. In this respect, I seldom have found a place where you find in the night at 3 o'clock life in Finland. So something is very wrong with this town. What is happening here? So latency, we needed to dig, and I still have to dig, and I think I still will have to dig for the next 2 to 3 years in order to understand what all is out there and who is communicating with whom and who is not communicating with another person. This is latency. So that's an observation which is very important. And I think when this cultural program is doing anything, and when the Urbach program is doing anything, but trying to get these layers of hidden, these covers somehow open and we get more to the core inside, where is really the action going on, then we have done our job. I have to say we won't manage to really unfold them totally and for being forever unfolded and open. But as much as we can do that, and we started with it, the bodice campaign is one of these issues, as much we can do that, as more we will get out of the town. Now the 5 keys. The 5 keys are going back to summarize that the students, 2 of these 4 gorgeous people are sitting here, right, here, here, here. Without them, forget us. They were the ones always being in the shop, and in the end, they were the ones, a little bit together with me, but I was just like trying to guard from the outside. They were working on the 2,500 approximately feedbacks of Post-its. Can you imagine that? This is crazy work. It's mind-blowing work. In the end, the students and I, we agreed we have four major issues which people are concerned of which one is mobility. Now, I won't go in the details of all of this. I will just crash down in each of the 4 sections. I will crash down the, to my mind, most important issues. There are many technical details mentioned, but there are always like central foci points, especially important for us as the ones who are doing this cultural planning project. What we have to like think about. So, cultural and social accessibility. What does that mean? Is there any planner in this room? Please raise your hand. No planner? Sadi, you're the only one. Okay, we are 2. Fine. By the way, I'm not an architect and not an official planner. I studied social and cultural planning. You are a planner. Actually, you are. In a way, you are. Yeah. So we are 3. Oh my God. So, then something about us, about planners. Planners suck. They have a huge problem. The problem is they think they are gods and goddesses. They are living beyond life. They are spooking over all the globe and the world. I mean, architects have that even more, but okay, that's a different thing. So, it's our job, especially like myself, not being this formal planner, but being somebody related to communication, to actually get them together and let them talk again. Cultural and social accessibility is nothing else than, in the mobility question, that we offer people, all people, regardless their age, their gender, their background, their ethnic, their language, whatever, that everybody has access to every place in the place, everywhere. That's utopia, logically. But you always have to reach out to utopia. You have to keep going on, rolling. Never give up. Never say like, we have done it. No, we don't have to do anything anymore. No, there's a next step. Mobility is the most important question. I'm not talking about whether we spend too much money on our CO2 and blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about climate change. I mean mobility. I mean people going somewhere. People being able to join here. People being able to join without money. Poor people being able to join a process. The pop-up shop, our pop-up shop in the city center, that was pretty much the same idea. There's always cafe, there's always bulla, and for the non-Finnish, bulla is small pastries like they are lying outside. Very sexy, very sweet, very buttery, very nice, full of cinnamon. Wonderful. Finland is a dreamland. It's my childhood trauma, I guess. Yeah. So, I was stuffed with stuff. So, you know, this is important. It's important to give something for free. That we give each other something for free, and we can still talk with each other. Or just like rest. So, for each of the sections, these gorgeous people have done this summary. And this summary is available for everybody, but I don't go into details here, because that's not what we really have to talk about today. You can also, if you want to, study all the 2,500 posters, but please, don't. It's great. Second, C. These are the creative spaces. Now let's talk about, where are we? Where are we? What is the name of the place?
This place, Valimo. Valimo.
Yeah, Valimo. What is that?
It's a place where someone has worked before, maybe study to do something, proper work.
Okay, but what is it now, in this moment?
Now we can look at films and kind of things. And
it's a creative space. Yes!
Yeah.
Ha-ha! Then there is another one. Hot potato in the town. The anise. In the end of our pop-up story, we had a discussion with how many? What do you think, Hardy? 100? 120 people coming in, because suddenly there was a discussion popping up like, maybe we should rearrange something with Anis. And people got mad. Juri, clever as he is, my overlord, came and said, we do a discussion in the space. And we were like, oh my God. And for sure, like all the 120 rushing in, I don't know, 10 people sitting kind of in the front. If you have been visiting us, we don't have this big hall there. We needed to go around an angle. It was very strange. But it worked. And it worked very well. And it worked so well that these ideas were first of all set aside a little bit. And let's go over start again and try to see one more time before we open our mouths. So something has worked. So we used a creative place in order to talk about a creative place of generations already, of high importance, and to try to actually figure out what we can do with that. And not only to forget also the 100 shitholes I was talking about before, the 3 o'clock in the night and the Hesburger, that's also a creative place. That is one of the most significant creative places. It's open all the time. It's always there. It always gives you a roof and a shelter if you probably wait for a local bus. You understand? This is important. I know planners don't like to hear that, but don't tear it down. Don't do that. Leave it where it is. Build around it. It's far too beautiful. I mentioned already everything. We need to focus. We need, and this is 20,000 times underlined, we need to focus on non-commercial spaces and places. If we don't do that, if we simply neglect that, if we simply follow this Thatcher style, since the 70s, I was 14, and Maggie, the Iron Lady, the bastard, was coming up, and I remember how we all went mad. It was my rise being political, was not in Germany. It was actually connected with this stupid English, strange, stupid English lady, who destroyed until today our idea of communication. If we don't resist against that, and at this place I'm very political, I'm really clearly saying whatever you believe is, you don't have to be my leftist side. Forget that. But if we ridiculously cut down all the non-commercial places that we have, at one moment we don't talk at all to each other anymore. And for that, you can't put the guilt on the telephones that Carolina has in her hand while I'm talking. This is not the problem. It's not the problem, it's just an instrument. It's about us. Again, a lot of dense, compact, interesting. But let's move further on. The urban landscapes. Is there any landscapers here? I know one who's studying landscape science. Anybody else? Nobody connected with landscapes? An anthropologist? No? Yeah, Tommy. Oh my God, interesting. What are you all doing, for God's sake? Are you studying culture only, or what, arts? How many cultural students we have here? Oh my God, okay, welcome to the unemployment. And then how many architects we have here? None. How many artists we have here? Okay, something must be in between there.
Producers.
What?
Producers.
Producer. Okay, let's talk more about the non-commercial issue. The urban landscapes. So, do you know what is a landscape? For you, a normal landscape is, and for the normal consumer of landscapes, a landscape is this rural imagination, isn't it? Like fields or forests or lakes, for the Finnish mindset. For me as a German would be different, but never mind. This is the most really like crazy stereotype. Forget that. Open a box, put it in, throw it away. A landscape is everything outside there. Everything. So also urbanity has landscapes. Landscapes are, for example, one feedback, massive feedback, I think it was many times mentioned, if I'm not incorrect. Take paint and color the market buildings. You know? So, people are very, very, very much eager for more color, more lights, more fresher, more green, and so on. Although I have to say, I was here starting from end September until end of October. It was not at all totally without color. I mean, I know colorless cities, definitely. But yeah, I mean, the average Nordic city, town is quite grayish, isn't it? And maybe it's our culture. Maybe we just can accept that a little bit. It's also okay. So the urban landscapes. Putting everything together, all the comments, all the feedbacks, all of our discussions, then there is one thing that we all, in a very holistic way, including official planning institutions, as well as cultural institutions, as well as cultural organizations, as well as strangers, as well as normal inhabitants, whoever is that, or users of the town, including myself. We just have to acknowledge one point, and that is spatial attention. Spatial attention is essential. If we don't do that, if we don't communicate about the space daily, constantly, again and again and again, like a duck, you know, like all the time, pain in the ass, constantly, then we forget the space. And we don't take care of it anymore, and suddenly we lack this kind of understanding of our environment. And that is so crucial. And in all the latency, one of the things that I recognized in Porin, that is that people really feel that there is a lack of communication about the space, about this outside, about the environment. This is a massive message for all of us, for the project, for the officials. There we have to work upon. But seriously, and not technocratic, coming there and please give us your opinion, but do it in the way like we did it in the pop-up, inviting people constantly, again and again and again and again. This is how we build trust. You can build trust with spatial attention. Very much trust. Because people feel more accepted and understood. Again, very detailed, a lot of nice and important issues. One of the things I have to say at that place, there are many planning projects currently in the pipeline, as we know. And also the city center will start with the working groups now in December, is it right? So there are all opportunities now to really work on the spatial attention, but please do it sensitive as possible. Because there's too much power of culture and cultural heritage in this town. Which doesn't mean we have to really preserve everything. My ideal city is not Rauma, just to mention it. My ideal city is probably far more Porin. But we have to pay attention, as I said. So now this is actually really the point where I am usually most profound and working with, as I am like specifically working on communities. So now this is my guideline for you. Follow it, do it like this, and you will never have to surrender. Nobody in a town. This is the easy toolkit for success. You listen, you talk, you negotiate, and you renew. Follow it step by step, clearly, and in no different way. But really, first of all, listen to people. If you don't listen, if you don't open your ears anymore, like really elephant ears, yeah, like this. Listening to the smallest mice in the town. What is the most important participation? The most important participation when we, as the social and cultural planners, go out in a city scale. Not you humans. You are unimportant. Completely. We have to talk to the dogs, to the cats, to the mice, to the rats. They are important because they are the one who actually bring us the hidden information. They are sneaking through your house, somewhere where the cables are running. You don't even hear them. You don't even know about them. But they have the information. These are the stories. And you know, each community is built on stories. If we don't have these stories, and the more we are industrializing our technical space, and the way we are living in our environment, the less we have stories. So we need the stories because they are the link, they are the synapses, like our brain. The stories are everything. Then you talk, and the talking is immediately also the negotiation. So you struggle, but you do it. Let's struggle, let's fight, have a little bit of conflict. Conflicts are good. If you mediate them, they are good. For sure, just having a conflict and saying, "You fucking mayor, I hate you," or "You stupid peasant, what you are doing?" So it's not right. You can't do it like this. Sure, you can struggle, but you don't bully each other. That's important. And based on all of this, you can renew. Very easy strategy. And we got probably many more feedbacks than I would have ever expected in this kind of section. Because this theme 4, for me, before we started to work, was that where I was afraid there would not come very much feedback. In fact, there came a lot of feedback. So much feedback that it was very obvious people want to talk, people want to communicate, they want to do something. And actually, the most important, they care about their town. You know? It's the first thing that you always hear, people in this town, they don't care about their town, they're just going shopping and that's it. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. The obvious opposite has been proved in this project. And then the students came along with something really nice. They actually, without asking me beforehand, they came up with theme number 5, the surprise. So there were some real surprises in all of this, of which probably the most important I mentioned right now. Surprise, surprise, More than 2,000 visitors in this pop-up shop. People rushing in and out. People leaving ideas. People communicating. People eagerly searching for trust-building moments. This is exactly what has happened. So there is an interest, and there's even a trust. Even if many have lost their trust. I have to say that. That's the feedback that we got, massively. Nevertheless, there is still some layer of trust existing on which we can build further on. Very important. Another surprise, so here I'm sticking a little bit, is certainly technology. So, especially also because Porin is a place of education, higher education, vocational training, and so on. It gives the opportunity very much also to use that more. So many people were actually giving us a feedback in the shop why we're not working more with modern technology, more working with all the opportunities that we have out there, especially this country. Come on, you are Finland, the dream country of technology. I mean, you took that from us, you stole it from us Germans. Please. So, remember the picture in the beginning? The target line? I can go shortly back. That was the first 30 minutes on the opening day. This was after less than 6 hours. And that was just one of how many charts did we have? 9 or 8. 8 or 9 shots. You see, action is going on. People are really taking care. The town matters. Now, we're getting mad. I call it the cult strip. Somebody has been in Las Vegas? Raise your hand. You have been in Las Vegas? Yes. Okay, so you know the strip. Let's build 25 casinos. Let's get a lot of money and a lot of mafia. Yeah. Nice. Let's build exactly 25 casinos, but casinos called creative places. Places which are offering culture. Places which are offering education. So what do I mean with this? That's the turned on the head Porin why. So specifically, from the railway station up to the river, you have an opportunity of already existing cultural, creative, educative places, right? We are in one of them right now, because we are on that line. So, this offers an opportunity to actually strengthen that idea even more, especially thinking also about the old bus station, which has a very important bar, but okay. As a last night place, we have had it tonight as well. I was happy after half an hour to leave. It was really like there are better places, seriously. But okay, it has a cultural relevance. Yeah, we have to be honest. But you know, in terms of planning, infrastructural planning, this would be something to really work on. Far more. Far, far more. And using all the opportunities on the roads. We are here. This is already, there is an old school, for God's sake. Beautiful what you could do with all of this. I know it will be turned also in residential places. Maybe do something a little bit else there also. You know, there are so many opportunities, and we have so much latency of cultural interested folks in this town. We would have a big chance. And then there is the second idea. Do we have anybody from, yeah, the public relations is also here. I know you just designed a very nice new, last year's, a very nice new image of the city. Yeah, very nice. 2 points about that. Personal feedback number 1. Please let's accept that we sometimes use the bear also out of this whole formal. When young artists are threatened, they are not allowed to draw a bear on a child's face because they're not doing it in the official logo style. Then, for God's sake, something is wrong. That's not okay. So we are proud of the bear. Let's use the bear in any way. But we need to focus on something else. And the bear is perfect for that. And all the image campaign you started is perfect for that. But why we are not clearly defining Pori as Finland's #1 experimental city? This is the town where you can come in. Just come and experiment. Just come here, take a stranger from non-paradise, maybe from the hell, and kick him over the street and just like roll him down the road and do something. Freak out, but really freak out. So this includes risks, this includes no mainstream, but also mainstream. This includes the underground, this includes the experimental character, the off-scene, the off-culture, the lust for life. That is already all there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Porin. Right now, the film festival, part of this. It's all there. Just start to use it more efficient. And just try to build the networks. Just try to actually continue with the voice, which is a perfect layout to start all of this. Build an image of the statement of the legendary off-culture. Capital off. You know, the first thing I came in this town after 1 week, I was asking my third. You know, the first thing I came in this town after 1 week, I was asking my third.
Didn't you apply
Third, Harry.
for the capital of culture? The European capital of culture?
Why the fuck didn't you apply for a capital of culture? The European
Then I had
capital
a
of
very
culture.
nice meeting.
Many reasons. Then I had a very nice meeting with Yuri and Harry. And we discussed with Nilo. And I understood, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe we can start more or less tomorrow to build the capital of culture, of exactly that experimental character, of exactly this underground scene, of exactly all of this, what Pori is already doing and is so strong in. And with that, building this powerful image even more, and also internationally. To my mind, Pori is probably also the European capital of culture. And I say that with all meaning. It's not just a blah blah. So that would be my Pori. That would be the lust for life. Yesterday, somebody wrote in our WhatsApp group, you can imagine such a team working like really for 5 weeks together in this way has a nearly daily exchange still now. And I'm texting, okay, I'm arrived. I sent a picture from the completely empty evening railway station. And then somebody said, or sent the feedback, Naya, I'm only afraid that we will lose you again. Because like, for sure, and someday I'm leaving again. But when we talk about a capital of off-culture and to work on that, then I promise all of you, but also most of all the person who was texting that yesterday, then I will stay. Thank you. So, questions, any questions, vragen, joutangs. That was Latin. try to speak that. It's dangerous. By the way, I mean, that is a story really that I haven't mentioned, and probably most of you haven't realized it. You know, we moved out of the pop-up where for 4.5 weeks, one of the residents was a Latvian German guy. You know what moved in afterwards? A Christmas tree exhibition by the City Council of Riga. Totally crazy. Yesterday evening I'm arriving there, or here, and I'm passing by. You know, when you go from the Beer Hunter down to the bus station for your bus. And I thought, tomorrow lunchtime I will go there. Then I read, 27th of November, finishing. So that was yesterday. I said, okay, tomorrow lunchtime I will still take some pictures for my Latvian folks. They were there like in the morning at probably 7 o'clock and cleaned it all out. It's completely empty. There's nothing there anymore. There was even hanging totally crappy Latvian flag outside of the door. It looked really, really weird, but okay. Whatever the City Council of Riga and its image campaigns, believe me, you're doing far better. Far better. Don't do that. Don't go there, please. Don't run around the world and sell Christmas trees. Okay. Questions? Feedback? Hunt the presenter. Sorry, I knew it.
So not so good maybe, or a big question, but does the Boris Boreali network still work, or do they need to still?
It does, yes it does. For these 2 weeks now, because of the film festival, we haven't met. But yes, it still does work, and if you want to join it, please to contact, for example, me after this. I'll get you in. Everyone, as it said in the manifesto, please ask about that if you want to, but everyone who is interested in culture and so on.
There's also been a pretty big application for a grant being made under this group also.
Yeah.
So we are hoping to get like 20,000 euro project money for a creative space in a net shop, surprisingly.
Surprise! Surprise, surprise, we have empty shops. So yeah, Boris and Borealia is still existing, and whenever we get like in a hot phase, I'm too much in places, spaces, and pace, well, space, yeah. So whenever we get in a hot phase, I kind of have said also in one meeting that I will minimum once in a month really come here then for a Wednesday. We usually have these Wednesday meetings. It's not so difficult and not so long question, quite easy. So whenever you want to use us, say it more friendly.
Join.
That's the best. That's the ultimate best, yeah.
Because I think that was really almost the best idea, that I hope it could continue and maybe go wider, so that you could
Yes,
invite more people.
Yes, yes, of course.
The discussions could continue, like
Yeah, and they will.
I hope that.
I promise you that.
If you want to do this, and if you want to work on that, and as I said, if my overlord is ready for the off culture, and my overlord is ready to accept me sometimes being here, then I'm more than happy, and also think that this is probably the very best tool that we can have, and which we build ourselves to work with. Nilo, you're so eagerly raising the hand. I'm so
yes,
sorry.
Why? Like, why? You, right? Could you tell more about?
Oh, why?
Yes,
Why?
why?
Oh, the why.
So, could you tell more about the great potential? You know.
I believe that we have exactly on this trip we have many empty lots, don't we? We are running straight through the absolute heart, the core, the heart of the city center, right? We end up at the river. We end up even again in a cultural hotspot, don't we? I mean, right, left then is the bench of museums and galleries, and the end are galleries, and so on. It's all on this street, on this line, on this strip. There is there is one city, but a real big city in Europe existing with a real cult strip. That's Frankfurt. Frankfurt built that somewhere in 70s and built it out around 80s. I don't know if any person ever has been in Frankfurt. It's not the hot spot. Yeah, I knew that you were there. Logical. It's your Bavarian beliefs. I mean, but that is a different thing there, because it's very much based on these high-profile, huge international museums. You know, that's a different thing. What we are talking here about is a cult strip that is officially also taken by the city council as an image. Like, come to Porin, take the train from Tampere, leave this stupid Tampere, come here to us, come to the heart of the real of culture. Step out of the train and walk down, and you have like one venue, bar, whatever after another. You pop up, it's popping in your face. The potential, to my mind, is A, using the empty lots, B, give them life as much as possible, but not all the time constantly. So I'm thinking also about the point, these empty lots we have there, and the empty shops and so on, we could sometimes use this, another 3 months use this, the next 6 months use this, you know, you can continue with that. And then some of the spaces have to be really built out as very good places. Like, for example, this. Valimo has to really build out, has to be built out. This, what happens now, has to be, how to say, like more infrastructurally also supported. It has to get like some place that really is like one of the cultural places of the town, however much money that costs. Sorry, I give a damn. It's necessary. But I'm also talking about the potential of the cultural heritage, like, for example, this building complex. I mean, this is one of the, directly here in the neighborhood, yeah? It's one of the most beautiful modernist architecture that you can imagine. Actually, it's 20s, 30s, it's not even modernist, it's even older. So these kind of places, they really have to like get some kind of flourishing. They have to be like used, and they shouldn't get too residential. They need to get a bit more mixed use. Another aspect is the design of the square in front of the old bus station. That's a hot topic. Since design process is already far ahead, and I think things are more or less settled actually, or not. Yeah, they are. Not yet. I mean, yesterday night, when standing with Tommy outside for a cigarette and looking over the square, it's really kind of a very beautiful square, to be honest. Just kick the stupid cars out, and not every person has to drive with the car everywhere. Is that understood, please? My goodness, this is a Finnish and Swedish sickness. I don't know where people go. Maybe because your distances are too long. I have no idea, but that I have to say very honest. There is one of the big problems that we have to really get the cars more out. It's very important. Such a square lives exactly from this green aspect that it has. There's a hotel on the one side, there's a bus station waiting for ideas. I think it could be a magnificent cultural spot. There are shops, there's offices. On the other hand, you have like the oldest bar of the city, hopefully remaining quite long still. No idea what are the plans there. Have not heard anything negative. Okay. So, you see, we can actually make, to my mind, I would say, this is asking for a workshop, for a real workshop, for a 2 or 3 days workshop based on even joint forces maybe of Urbact and Urb Cultural Planning, I have no idea, based on Boris Borelia Club, to really, with the planning department, sitting down and with other cultural actors and all interested folks, sit down and try to work on the why. Try to get something out of it. Because I see all of the experimental character of the city very much in there. Exactly that strategy, this powerful image that I was talking about, that is lying in this why. More questions, aggressions, huntings.
It was interesting to hear what you were saying. And thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. Usually I'm getting aggressions and not so friendly remarks. Thank you. Otherwise, my timekeeper, what is the time?
4:10, I suppose.
So we have pretty much the hour that we were talking about. Thank you very much. And let me finish with something that has to be said. I mentioned earlier that if we are interested in continuing this idea of the experimental town, building this image, working on the why, all of that what is connected for me with each other, then I would be very, very happy to join these processes for the upcoming years. And I think one of the most powerful issues that we have to do is that, talking in we already, that we have to do is really like working on the concept of starting somewhere next year for 21 planning the idea of the capital of off-culture, to really try not to bully Tampere, which will most likely win, I guess, the capital of culture, or maybe, I don't know, Oulu, but yeah, I think it will, Tampere will make it. They were so weak in the 2006 application that they really have to do better now. Anybody from Tampere here? Do I bully anybody? No? Okay. I mean, because I'm an honorable inhabitant of Pispala, but not of Tampere. So therefore, have been working 5 years on Pispala. So this is really a very interesting thing. And you can't, talking about then when I said aggressions, you can't get more aggressions than in any place in Finland than there. Believe me. This is the most hot potato. Once heading a public meeting with 400 participants, and I needed to ask the police to be present, otherwise people were starting with a bookie to go in each other. It was really crazy. So, with this, I want to say that we have had something and a dynamic in this pop-up shop in this 4 weeks, including everybody who was around with the project, without, also like Sari and you all, Mari and so on, like coming in, going out, coming in, and so on, being around the place. We had a dynamic cross projects, like with Nilo, nights and nights and nights, where I'm thinking this is the most, and I mean it as I say it, this is the most wonderfully project that I have done in the 25 years. And I have been fallen in love in this stupid, shitty town. Thank you.